What's happening, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to week 16. Got you guys for start sit help today ahead of your semifinal matchup. Sorting out what to do for your lineup so that we can advance to championship week. As always, I will go over the latest information that we have as far as injury news and updates. We will get definitive confirmed actives and inactives at the bottom of the hour for the early slate. So that'll maybe help determine a question or two when things become definitive. But here to help sort out, putting your best foot forward, giving yourself your best shot to advance today to the fantasy championship week next week. And hopefully we're playing for some chips in 7 days' time. This will also be, I've mentioned it a few times. I just dropped it in the Discord. Mentioned it a few times this week. This will be my final stream today of the 2024 season. I will be traveling for the holiday break next week, and it's just going to make streaming too complicated and too difficult to do. So I will be available to answer questions on the channel. I will set up a community post that you can ask questions for next week. And I'll be sure to get to those questions as I have the time. Unfortunately, the live streams will be a little too tricky to run during the holidays. So today will be it for live streams for 2024 before I come back for Dynasty content at some point in the spring in 2025. It's been fun. It's been an honor. I appreciate you guys coming in over the course of the year, hanging out, spending time, your time, and, in some cases, your money, putting your faith and trust in me to get your calls right. And I know that I don't get them right every time. I wish I could, but I probably didn't. But I hope I steered you in the right direction more often than not. And maybe I didn't get your, the calls right each time, but maybe I gave you some outside the box ways of thinking about how to approach your lineup, or at least maybe, give you some things to think about that maybe your league mates aren't thinking about. And these are the edges that we are looking for all season long, week to week, game to game, matchup to matchup. Where can I get that edge? I'm looking for an edge wherever I can find one. Hopefully I was able to help sort that out for you guys in one way or another, at least a couple of times this year. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys spending your time, taking your time out of your schedules to hang out. Obviously, it's always fun to talk shop, always talk fantasy. But when it comes time to make your calls, to make your lineup decisions, obviously, that isn't necessarily a fun feeling. We start to sweat it out. But that's because we care. That's because we love it. This is what we do. This is what we like to do. So, it's fun when we win. It hurts when we lose. All the same, we're going to come back next year, and regardless of the result, we're going to try again. So that is my plan, as always, for next year. Just try to continue to steer you guys in the right direction and put us in these positions today to have a chance at a championship. I'll go over injury updates first. I see Crumply Heads. What's going on, Crumply Heads? Don't be scared. Be confident. You're here. You're in the game. Your opponents are scared of you too. Just remember that. Your opponent in the fantasy championship, before anything happens, before anything goes down, I don't care what the projections look like. I don't care what the predictions as far as the score looks like. The games still have to be played. Things have to go down on the field. Your opponents are as scared as your roster as maybe you might be of theirs, regardless of what the matchup looks like on paper. Be confident. Have some fun today. Let's all have some fun today. I see Derek. What's going on, Derek? And Kevin, appreciate the super very much. Thank you so much. I will get to all of those questions here shortly. Let me just quickly go over the latest information that we have as far as injuries There aren't many from yesterday. I did cover them yesterday in yesterday's stream at a little bit more length. I'll just go over these 4 or 5 updates that we have here to right now, and we will come back to this at the bottom of the hour, 11:30 East. So about 20 minutes from now, we'll get definitive confirmed actives and inactives rolling in for the first slate of games. Let's see. Tony Pollard should be good to play today. Should be good. To me, that means he'll suit up. He'll be out there. He'll get his opportunities. He may not be the bell cow for the Titans today. Zach Ertz is expected to play. He will play Week 16, actually. That was confirmed by Dan Quinn about an hour ago. So from the horse's mouth is usually a pretty good source of information. Zach Ertz clears concussion protocol, also dealing with a shoulder injury. Neither injury will keep him off the field. He will suit up against his old team in Philly. Got to imagine he has a chance to make something happen today. I always like looking for revenge game narratives, and that is certainly one of them. So if you need a low-end tight end one, even though he has been on the injury report all week, Ertz is a savvy vet at this point. He's not the type of guy that I worry about as far as like missed practice time. Tyreek Hill will play Week 16. He's in your lineup, albeit with less confidence than we usually have with Tyreek Hill. Nevertheless, you're playing him. Braylon Allen will play Week 16. Breece Hall will lead what I assume to be a committee, assuming that he is still dealing with that knee injury that has been lingering. He turned 11 touches into 50 scrimmage yards last week. A touchdown saved his day for fantasy purposes. He didn't look all that good. This is a great matchup. The problem is we expect Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis to mix in. So while Breece is typically a locked and loaded RB1, he's more of a shaky RB2 with, I would say, a little bit more pessimism than optimism this week between the young guys getting some run and the injury. However, you may not have a better alternative to pivot to than Breece Hall. According to Ian Rappaport, Josh Allen has been playing most of this season with a broken non-throwing hand. I mean, if that is the case, then that just, adds to Josh Allen's, yeoman status as the top dog at the quarterback position, playing with a broken left hand. Those typically, I feel like, heal within a month's time, so I don't know how long that this has been an issue for him. It hasn't affected his play. Josh Allen is what he is, the fantasy QB1 every single week, regardless of matchup. Congrats if you have him. Clearly, the broken hand has not bothered him. Tyler Higbee will play 20 to 25 snaps in Week 16 against the Jets. That is not fantasy relevant, but just bringing it up. And I think that's all we have since yesterday. Again, I did go over the other updates about injuries yesterday, leading up to yesterday's games. So if you happen to want to check on those, you can check yesterday's stream off the top, close to the front of the stream. I went over those injuries yesterday, but we'll get some more definitive confirmations coming up here in about 20 minutes time. So your questions. I don't see any questions from Crumply Heads or Derek yet, but you guys, of course, let me know if you need anything. We'll kick things off with Kevin Super. As always, for those just joining me for the first time, welcome in. For those who have been around the block, welcome back. Y'all know the drill. Member questions will get their questions answered in priority order. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. You will jump the line. If you are feeling generous enough or so inclined to send a super or gift, that will also be a line jumper to get your question answered faster. You do not have to send one, but if you'd like to get an answer faster and cut the line, that is your way to do that. Then I will get to everybody else. I appreciate your patience as I work through member questions and supers first. Regardless of whether you are a member or not, I only ask that you like the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Let's get into it. We're picking 2 in the flex positions, and 1 is a super flex. So Penix is in play here. I do not want to play Njoku on the injury report with the hamstring still. I don't know if he's expected to play or not. If he is, it's possible that he is limited and he's playing with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I do not trust that situation. I do not want to play Njoku. If it's half PPR, I'll probably play ETN. If it's full PPR, Ridley has a little bit more of an argument, but ETN, I feel like, has started to play a little bit better recently after a mid-season, like, horrendous stretch. So in half PPR, I'd be fine with ETN. In full PPR, I am good with Ridley. Because it's Superflex, Penix is in play for one of those two spots. I would definitely play ETN in half PPR, and I would definitely play Ridley in full PPR. So depending on your scoring, one of those two guys is in one of those flex spots. The question is, do we play a rookie in his first career start? Yes, it's a good matchup, but it's first career start in the fantasy semifinals when we just don't know what to expect at all from Michael Penix. Of course, though, with it being Superflex, quarterbacks always have to be in play here. It is definitely a risk, Kevin. It is definitely, we're definitely playing with a little bit of fire here. But there are just some rules that I tend to live by, for better or worse. If it is Superflex and I have a quarterback, I got to play the quarterback. That is a typical rule of thumb in Superflex. If you are between some options that are either quarterback and non-quarterback in a Superflex spot, I'm going to always lean 99 times out of 100, regardless of what the situation is, I'm going to lean on the quarterback. So I think, look, Penix can't be that much worse than Kirk Cousins, right? I know that Kirk Cousins obviously is a 16 or 15-year vet and has infinitely more experience playing this game than Michael Penix does, but that hasn't translated to results and production. So let's see what Penix can do. It's a good matchup against a bad Giants team. He has good weapons in Bijan and Drake London and Darnell Mooney. Let's see what he can do. Let's roll the dice. I would play Penix in the Superflex position. I got to rock with a quarterback when I can play a quarterback. And it's a good enough matchup. He's at home, and he's got he's got good talent surrounding him. I think that'll prop him up. And if he's able to chip in 20 to 30 yards on the ground, that'll, now we're looking at that 15-point floor that we're hoping to get from our quarterbacks. I will play Penix in the Superflex spot. I know it's a risk, but in Superflex, I got to play the QB, especially when the other options are interesting but not slam dunks. I will play Penix at Superflex. I will play ETN if it is standard or half PPR scoring. I will play Ridley if it is full PPR. Yep. Penix and ETN in half PPR, Penix and Ridley in full PPR. But I am getting Penix in there. I am getting Penix into my lineup in Superflex leagues. Not one quarterback leagues, but I can get him into Superflex formats. Yep. Appreciate the super, Kevin. Thank you so much. Let me know if you need anything else. Okay. I still don't see any other member questions, so we can start from the top. We are starting one running back between Pollard, Patrick Taylor, ETN, or Kendre Miller. I am on the Kendre Miller bandwagon. I have been since, we'll call it Wednesday, when we found out Alvin Kamara's injury is more significant than initially feared. I would play Kendre Miller, and I will repeat all morning today, I will repeat what I was saying yesterday. I just have a feeling. I just have a feeling about Kendre Miller. I think he had I think the deck was stacked against him leading up to this point during his Saints tenure. Dennis Allen, the old coach, for whatever reason, didn't seem to like Kendre Miller. He didn't like he didn't like what he did. He didn't like what he brought to the table. It culminated with an IR stint a few weeks ago that ultimately was like a lot of people, the consensus was that wasn't warranted. That wasn't necessary. That was maybe a personal decision by Dennis Allen, who appears to be a pretty disliked guy in general. So I think it was clearly the coach, not the player. I think Kendre Miller's going to run motivated tomorrow night. Yes, it's a bad Saints offense. I don't expect a lot from the Saints offense in general, not just tomorrow night against Green Bay, but for the rest of the season, as long as Spencer Rattler is starting and they're down all of their weapons. Shaheed gone, Taysom Hill gone, Olave practicing, but I don't know if he's going to play. He probably shouldn't. And Kamara is gone as well. So, the Saints offense is down to scotch tape and bare bones. But I think Kendre Miller is going to take an opportunity here to get 15 to 18 touches, and I think he's going to run with it. I like Kendre Miller. So I think Miller is my answer here over a banged-up Tony Pollard, an injured Tony Pollard, over Patrick Taylor, over Travis Etienne, who has been okay recently, but overall uninspiring this year, and splitting work with Tank Bigsby. I'll take Kendre Miller. Sitting one between McLaurin, Addison, or Devontae Smith. I hate to say this because all three of these guys are good options, so I feel bad putting any one of these guys on the bench. I'm probably putting Devontae Smith on the bench. The Eagles are a run-first offense. That is their identity. It makes it difficult for the pass catchers to come through. A.J. Brown is the team's wide receiver one and will continue to command a wide receiver one target share. So you can continue to fire up A.J. without any issues. Devontae Smith is a little bit more volatile, though, and he's talented as all hell. We know Devontae Smith is awesome. The problem is his usage is maybe a little bit more sporadic in a run-first offense. So McLaurin is a must-start. He's a wide receiver one on the season. Despite the tough matchup, he has to be in your lineup. And Addison, I think, has just been a little bit better recently. I would imagine the Seahawks stay a little bit more aggressive on offense on the road and throw the football. I think that bodes well for Addison's opportunities today. I don't want to sit Devontae Smith, but if I have to pick one, I will sit Devontae Smith over Jordan Addison. It is close, but I will lean Addison. So I will start Kendre Miller, and I will sit Devontae Smith. What's going on, Iron? Good to see you, man. We got a difficult defense question to sort out between the Cowboys and the Jets. I'll tell you what, Iron. Is this a dynasty league? It's dynasty. Okay, yeah. All the defenses are taken. I mean, it's got to be. What have the what have the Cowboys done recently? To me, the choice is the Jets because both of these teams are at home and they're both playing good offenses. The Bucs are a great offense. The Rams have great weapons. The difference is the Rams, LA team are coming east. A West Coast team is traveling east for an early game, and it's cold as shit in New York right now. I think it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So those Rams players who are used to that LA sunshine, it might be a little cold for them coming into New York, and a lot of wind as well. Could make things difficult for the passing game for the Rams, for both offenses, honestly. But for the Rams coming in, unfamiliar territory, on the road, out of conference matchup. Decent pieces on the Jets defense. The Cowboys are down to Micah Parsons and a bag of chips. I would play the Jets. I would play the Jets. They get a Rams LA team that is coming east for an early game, so their body clocks might be a little thrown off, and it's going to be cold as hell in New York. And that LA sunshine ain't coming to New York with the Rams to play the Jets. The Cowboys, they have Micah Parsons, so he can wreck an offensive game plan any given Sunday. But they are down to like nothing else. Everybody else is injured. Overshown is injured. Trayvon Diggs is out for the year. They have lost so many pieces, and they're just a shell of themselves at this point. The Cowboys are limping to the finish line. They can't wait for this season to be over. I guess you could say the same thing about the Jets. But again, at least the Jets are playing in cold weather, something that the Rams might take some time adjusting to coming from LA. And the Bucs are such an electric offense as well. They could easily light up the Cowboys. They hung like 40 plus on a good Chargers defense just last week. I get not wanting to play against Puka, but the other option is you're playing against Mike Evans, who is on fire recently, and Baker Mayfield, who is on fire recently. So it's a shitty situation. It's a no-win situation for you, to be honest, because neither of these options are great. I'll take the Jets. If you want to play the Cowboys, Iron, that's your call. That's up to you. I get not wanting to go against Puka, but the other option is going against Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, who I've been cooking this year. So I would go the Jets. Neither is a great option. So if you want to hold your nose and play the Cowboys and don't even watch and just hope for the best, you can do that. But I would probably lean the Jets in this decision. But best of luck, Iron. 8 straight wins is a hell of an accomplishment. Hopefully it leads to 9 today, and we're playing for a championship next week. Let me know if you need anything else. Oh, you play? Well, you have Puka. All right. If you have, if that's a roadblock for you, okay, you have Puka. If that's a roadblock for you and you're like, I just don't like this, I just don't want this, then play the Cowboys. That's the way to avoid, the situation. If you do not want to be hedging between Puka and the Jets defense, then just play the Cowboys. But best of luck. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Back up to the top. T. Higgins or Brian Thomas. You got to play. I was going to say you got to play Higgins. What is the latest as far as his injury? Cleared to play Sunday. Does not carry an injury designation. Limited on Wednesday. Did not practice Thursday. Limited on Friday. No concern about their workload. We're playing T. Higgins. We're playing T. Higgins. T. Higgins has been a wide receiver 1 this year with Jamar Chase on the field. They're both high-end wide, or Chase is the wide receiver 1, but T. Higgins is a wide receiver 1 when the both of them suit up. If you're between Higgins and Brian Thomas, it has to be Higgins. Better quarterback, better situation. The Bengals are actually, they have like a 5% chance to make the playoffs, but that's better than 0, which is Jacksonville's chances. And I like playing players that are playing for something, that there's meaning in the game that they're playing. I just have a preference to that. So, and Higgins has been better anyway. So give me Higgins. I'm not too worried about that. And in full PPR, he should be fine. The Bengals are in this is their playoffs. Their playoffs have started for the Cincinnati Bengals. Any loss for them over the next 3 weeks, and they're done. Their season is over. They have to win. They are gunning for that, like one of those last couple of spots, probably the last spot in the playoffs. It's not likely that they get there, but they are still mathematically alive, so they are going to obviously go for it. You will have a motivated Bengals offense who has been firing on all cylinders pretty much all season long, giving it their best effort today. Give me T. Higgins. Give me T. Higgins. Yeah. Higgins over Brian Thomas. I love Brian Thomas, but we have to go T. Higgins. He has been so good this year. Which I got to admit, I was concerned about T. Higgins coming into the season. I was worried about the contract situation. He wasn't really participating in training camp, and then he missed a lot of time at the start of the season. I was like, I was not feeling T. Higgins. He's proven me wrong. He has showed up when healthy, and he has balled out. He will get a fat contract somewhere in 2025, and it will be deserved. Is Devontae Smith going off? I don't know if he's going off. He's talented enough to come through. The problem is minimal opportunities in a run-first offense. Now, this is a division game. The Commanders are going to bring their A game. This is their, like the Eagles can clinch the NFC East today if they beat the Commanders. So you know Washington is going to come in fired up, wanting to defend home field, revenge game for the Commanders. They want to stay. They want to keep their slim, it's minuscule chances of winning the division alive. So you know they're going to show up today against Philly. So it's possible that the Eagles can't just lean on their run game and run all game long, and therefore they have to get the receivers a little bit more involved. And Devontae Smith is hella talented. He's so good. So that's not a concern. The concern is the identity of the Eagles offense, which is we're going to run the football. We're going to run it with Saquon. We're going to run it with Jalen Hurts. We're going to sprinkle in Kenny Gainwell. We're going to push our way to fourth down conversions and goal line opportunities. And we're going to just run the ball, and there's nothing you can do about it. And maybe we'll throw it here and there, maybe 20 times a game. So Devontae kind of is in a situation where he needs to do the most with the least. So can he go off? Yes. Will he go off? I don't know. But he's good enough to come through if you need him. Let's see. I got Irons questions, so let's move on down here. Full PPR, 3 separate questions. 1 running back and 1 flex between Abdullah, Madison, Spears, Adunze, and Strange. I don't want to play the Raiders running backs. I would play Spears as my running back because Pollard is less than 100%. Mason Rudolph seems to like checking the ball down to Tajay Spears last week, if that's any indication. I don't trust the Raiders running backs. It's like good luck figuring out which one of them might come through for you. So let's just bench both of them. I would play Spears. I don't want to play I never want to play a tight end in the flex. I don't know who your starting tight end is, why you're not starting, or since you're not starting Strange, I'm not sure who your starting tight end is. I like Strange today, but on principle, I don't like starting 2 tight ends. I like picking 1 tight end and just sticking with that guy. So if you have a tight end that you're already fully confident in your tight end spot, maybe you started Mark Andrews yesterday, then I would probably risk it with Adunze in your flex. The Lions are a mess on defense right now. They are a very beatable secondary. The Bears should have some success moving the ball against this Lions defense, especially at home. What's the weather like in Chicago today? It's cold, but only like 10-mile-per-hour winds. That's not bad. That's not enough for me to be worried. 15 is when it starts to get hairy. 15 to 20-mile-per-hour winds is when it's like, that's when it starts to get concerning. But 10-mile-per-hour winds is not bad. I would say Spears and Adunze, depending on who your starting tight end is. I do want to play Strange, and in your second question, I would probably play Strange over Henry. The volume that we expect for Strange is insane, and the matchup is incredible against the Raiders. They give up so much production to opposing tight ends. I would play Strange and hope for the best. He got 12 targets last week. I would think he's in line for at least another 7 or 8 today. And then one running back, one tight end between Walker, Ford, Ertz, Chigakonkwo. Walker is making his return after missing a couple of weeks. He has since been removed from the injury report and has no injury designation. We're playing Kenneth Walker here. We're playing Walker over Ford, and I would play Chigakonkwo over Zach Ertz. I like Chig, and I think he's going to have a decent day with Mason Rudolph. Zach Ertz is interesting, but he only just cleared concussion protocol, and yes, it's a revenge game for him against the Eagles, but the Eagles are stout and stingy on defense at every level. Ertz, concussion, shoulder injury. He's dealing with multiple ailments, and it's a tough matchup. Chig gets a good matchup against the Colts. He's the clear-cut starter and guy at the position for the Titans, while Ertz is pretty much that for the Commanders. The rookie Ben Sinnott does get involved and does mix in. We know Chig will be the guy for the Titans. And Tyler Boyd and Nick Westbrook-Akine were on the injury report this week, so it's possible that we see a little bit more usage for Chigakonkwo. I would go Walker and I would go Chig, and he had a good showing last week with Mason Rudolph. Let's see if it continues today. I would go Spears and Adunze with your first question. I would go Strange with your second question, and I would go Walker and Chig for your third question. Best of luck. Congrats on being in the semifinals or in the playoffs in 3 separate leagues. At this stage, that's quite an accomplishment. Let's get some dubs. Would I play Kendre Miller over Jalen McMillan with Cade Otton out? I do like Kendre Miller today. Or, excuse me, tomorrow night. I would play Kendre Miller. Again, I am happy. I'm happy to repeat myself multiple times about Kendre Miller. I know that the Saints offense in its current form stinks. They got to go on the road in Green Bay. What was it, like probably 10 degrees there right now? What's the weather like in Green Bay for tomorrow night? Ooh, it's going to be cold, 34 degrees. It might be snowing, 7-mile-per-hour winds. That's running the football weather if I've ever seen it. I know the Saints are bad. Vegas has their implied point total tomorrow night as 14 points. I think that's the lowest or second lowest on the slate between today and tomorrow night. Nobody likes the Saints to score a lot of points tomorrow night. But if they can get in the end zone twice, if I had to bank on one guy getting one of those 2 touchdowns, Kendre Miller would be one of those 2 guys. He's going to get all the work with Alvin Kamara out. I think 15 to 18 touches is in Kendre Miller's future tomorrow night, and I think he comes through with a decent floor play. I don't know that he's going to necessarily bust the slate and put up some massive performance, but I think we can expect double-digit points from him in half PPR or full PPR. I think there's a solid floor in Kendre Miller's future, and I want to lean on him tomorrow night. No Alvin Kamara, no Taysom Hill to vulture goal line work. Rashid Shaheed has been gone. Chris Olave, even if he plays, will probably be limited to a handful of snaps. Kendre Miller might get 20 touches tomorrow. Yes, I like McMillan. He's in a really good spot. He's on the flex radar. He should come through with a nice day. I like Kendre Miller a little bit more given his opportunity. He is going to get as much work as he can handle out of that backfield tomorrow night. Give me Kendre Miller. Jordan Love or Penix, we got to go with the proven product. We have to play Love. Penix Penix is making his first career start. Penix is in play in Superflex. I had, Kevin's question earlier. Penix is in play in Superflex formats when your other options are non-quarterbacks. That's when you play Penix. In this situation, when you have another viable quarterback who has been around the block, is a proven player, yeah, he's been only okay for fantasy for the past month, but he's still been a high-end QB2, low-end QB1. I would go with Love. I would go with Love. Great matchup. He has his full complement of weapons. Oh, this is a big deal, actually. Iron, if you're still in here, Jets defensive tackle Quinnen Williams will not play Week 16, so that's a hit for the Jets defense. So sure, there's another reason for you to play the Cowboys. They will not have one of their best players on defense today, the Jets. So there you can play the Cowboys there. Tony Pollard officially active. David Njoku officially active, but I don't trust him with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and having been on the injury report all week. Tyrone Tracy is active for Week 16. He will suit up for the Giants against the Falcons. Jalen Coker is active for Week 16. He will go for the Panthers against the Cardinals. That's not a bad spot for him if you are desperate, if you need a dart throw at wide receiver. We'll continue to monitor injury updates as they come in. Laporta or Kincaid in full PPR? Laporta. Kincaid's been disappointing. Laporta has had better weeks recently. We want Laporta. Jacoby Myers, Jalen McMillan, Devontae Smith. Myers does get Aiden O'Connell back, and it's a great matchup against Jacksonville. I would say Devontae Smith and Jalen McMillan are more on the flex radar. Myers has a great matchup, and he has Aiden O'Connell back, who is better than Desmond Ridder, which isn't saying much, but it matters for the outlook of guys like Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. I would play Myers over McMillan and Devontae Smith. He is his team's definitive wide receiver one. He may not be target one with Brock Bowers, but he's wide receiver one. Is Myers for the Raiders, and he gets a beautiful matchup against Jacksonville's horrendous secondary. I would play Laporta simply because Kincaid is not a trustworthy alternative, and I would play Jacoby Myers because he's his team's wide receiver one, and it's a beautiful, beautiful matchup against Jacksonville. Flex 1, Tyreek, DeAndre Swift, Patrick Taylor, Brenton Strange. You have to play Tyreek Hill. I know he's been disappointing. I know he has not met expectations. But it's Tyreek Hill. You have to play Tyreek Hill. You have to. I get it. I understand he hasn't been Tyreek Hill this year. He hasn't been slam dunk wide receiver one. He's barely a wide receiver two. But it's Tyreek Hill. You have to play him. Should see a condensed target share today. I don't believe Jalen Waddle is going to play. He's still listed as doubtful. So, in all likelihood, we're going to get the update shortly that Waddle will be ruled out because players who are listed as doubtful rarely play. So we got a condensed target share for Tyreek Hill on top of the fact that he's Tyreek Hill. You have to play. You got to play Tyreek. You just have to. You just have to. Yeah. I can't sit Tyreek Hill for any one of these guys. And I'm not worried about a DeAndre Swift revenge game. The Lions, if there's one thing they still do well on defense, it's stop the run. They may have a little bit more difficult time of it now today against the against the Bears with all the injuries that they're dealing with. But I don't trust DeAndre Swift over Tyreek Hill. I can't go that far. I can't go that far. We have to play Tyreek. Have to play Tyreek. Who is your sit between St. Brown, Walker, Robinson, and Aaron Jones? Probably you're playing Amon Ra despite the weather. It's Amon Ra. I would probably sit Brian Robinson against the Eagles. I don't feel great about that. These are all really good options. But Walker is making his return. It is a tough matchup against the Vikings front, but it is a home game for Seattle, and Walker has been awesome this year. So I don't think we can go away from a healthy Kenneth Walker, who is off the injury report. Aaron Jones, he's been so good as well. Where do these guys rank as far as like on the season? Aaron Jones on the year has been the RB 15, depending on the scoring. Walker's rank is a little lower because he missed a couple of weeks. So did Brian. Robinson missed a couple of weeks as well. And he's had some good performances of late, but this is a different animal against the Eagles and their front. I would sit Robinson. It's a tough spot because these are all good options, but Robinson has the toughest matchup of this group going up against the Eagles defense. Yes, he will have the backfield to himself with no Austin Eckler. It's just these are all really good options, so you have to pick one. So I'll take the one that's in the worst matchup and sit that one. I'll sit Robinson. You have to play Amon Ra, and I'll play Walker and Aaron Jones ahead of Brian Robinson. Yeah. AJ Brown or Brian Thomas. We got AJ Brown. AJ Brown. I love Brian Thomas. He's been awesome, but AJ Brown is a stud. And you can't sit AJ coming off of last week. He had 8 for 110 and a touchdown. I mean, I know Brian Thomas is putting up similar numbers. And it's a good matchup against the Raiders. I don't think I can sit AJ Brown over Brian Thomas. I don't think I can sit AJ Brown. He's got better quarterback play. It is a division game, so it makes it a little tougher. I just can't sit AJ Brown. I can't bring myself to do that. I can't do that. I can't bring myself to sit AJ Brown for Brian Thomas. I have to play AJ Brown. They're both really good. I would love to find a way to get both of them into your lineup. I don't know who your other options are, but I can't sit AJ Brown. Not after an 8 for 110 game and he scored. I can't do that. Yeah, give me AJ. I got this question. I will sit Brian Robinson. You start. Sorry about that. Sorry about the mix and start. I mean, look, that was the read. I know he didn't have a great game. Moving forward, if you don't want to play good, like the tough matchups, I understand. It's just tough because like Mixon's a bell cow running back. I know that Zay had a nice day. Mixon has been an RB1 all season long, though. What are you going to do? But best of luck. Best of luck. There's a lot of football left. There's a lot of football left. We can still see our way through this. There's a lot of football left to be played. Plenty of time for your guys to deliver and pull it out. Yeah. Let's that's all right. A lot of football left to be played. We're going to have some good outcomes today. I can feel that. Okay, we are at the end of the chat for now. I'm just going to double check and see if there are any more injury updates. For everybody, just as a general consensus, whoever your kicker is, check and see where they're playing. Are they playing outside? Are they playing in a dome? If they're playing in a dome or in a warm weather situation, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. If they're playing somewhere where it's windy, like Chicago or the Meadowlands, you may want to pivot off of those guys. When there's 15 to 20 mile per hour winds, I do not want to play a kicker in that situation, no matter how good they have been all season long. So if you have a guy like Jake Bates, you may not. You probably don't have like a Cairo Santos. Is that the Bears kicker these days? They don't score enough for me to be able to stay on top of that. But if you have Jake Bates, if you have oh my God, the Rams. I'm blanking on who the Rams kicker is. Oh my God, who do they have? Josh Carty, who I think has been solid this year. I'm not playing him against the Jets in the Meadowlands. I don't know who the Jets kicker is. Carlson, maybe? Not Daniel, the other one. Would rather not. So double check the weather where your kickers are playing and your wide receivers as well, just to make sure that we're not dealing with any conditions that potentially impact not just the kicking game, but the passing game as well. So I guess to that point, the Eagles play in Washington, D.C., 10 mile per hour wind. So I'm not worried about A.J. Brown there as far as the A.J. versus Brian Thomas question. 10 mile per hour winds, not enough to worry about. No new injury updates. I'm expecting to see Jalen Waddle get ruled out. Trying to think if there's anybody else. Nah. That's it for now. Let's see. Drake London or Keenan Allen. Obviously, this would normally be Drake London, but obviously he's a little bit more of a concern with Penix in there. Although Kirk Cousins has been playing horrendous football recently. Penix could provide, a little bit of a boost or a bump to the Falcons' passing attack. Keenan Allen, meanwhile, has been really good recently, and it's a great matchup for him. I give the slightest of nods to this is close. This is very, very close. Or you could go Tyrone Tracy. That feels kind of volatile just because he's been on the injury report. Maybe he's fine, but it's possible that Devin Singletary mixes in a little bit more frequently than we'd like to see if we have Tyrone Tracy. I guess he's kind of tough to trust, having been on the injury report. Plus, obviously, there's built-in downside every week with how bad this Giants offense is. I give the slightest of nods to London because he is his team's wide receiver one. I do not know what we can expect from Michael Penix today, but what I do know is we were firing up Drake London as a wide receiver one with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, and Kirk Cousins has been horrendous for at least a month. So, you could argue how much worse could Michael Penix be? Probably not that much worse than what Kirk Cousins has given us over the past 4 to 5 weeks. Keenan Allen has been on a tear recently, and it's in a great matchup. It looks like the wind actually has kind of died down a little bit in Chicago. We're now looking at like 10 mile per hour winds, not 15 mile per hour winds. That's good. That's positive. That's a boost for Keenan Allen. Let's see. Allen has been a wide receiver one over the past month. London has been more of a wide receiver too, but that's because he's had bad quarterback play. If you believe in the hot hand approach, then the answer is Keenan Allen. I will say that. If you believe in the hot hand, it's Keenan Allen. Allen is playing very well right now, and it's a great matchup against the beatable Lions secondary that is not just not very good, but banged up due to injury. So Allen is the hot hand. I think London is, at least at this stage of their careers, the better player and his team's definitive wide receiver one. But his play has been erratic because of poor quarterback play, and it's possible that Penix in his first career start doesn't necessarily prop up London to the tune of a wide receiver one performance, and they may run the ball a lot. If you believe in wide receiver one target share, London. I think I'm actually now flip-flopping. I may go Allen and ride the hot hand approach because Allen has simply been better the past month. He's been better, and it's a great matchup. It's going to be cold in Chicago, so that sucks, but it's a great matchup. Wide receiver one, his team's Falcons wide receiver one in a dome, probably a wide receiver two. Keenan Allen, savvy vet, getting a wide receiver one target share, maybe more his team's wide receiver two, but has been a wide receiver one for fantasy over the past month. I think that's where I would go. I think I would go Keenan Allen. I wouldn't play Tracy over those two guys, though. Too volatile, having been on the injury report. Myers or Jamison Williams, I would go Jacoby Myers. He gets Aiden O'Connell back. He's been a strong wide receiver, too, with Aiden O'Connell. And it's a beautiful matchup against Jacksonville. I like JMO today, but I like Myers more. And then Njoku over Noah Fant. I assume Strange is not available. I do not trust Njoku. I don't trust Njoku, having been on the injury report and with DTR, with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Is Chigakonkwo available? I assume Brenton Strange is already scooped up. Is Chigakonkwo available? I would rather have him. I would rather play Chig if I could play Chig. If Hunter Henry is still available, I'd rather play Hunter Henry. I do not want to play either one of these guys. I'd play Zach Ertz. I would play. I assume Brenton Strange is maybe not available, but if he is, he's number one. I would play Zach Ertz. I would play Chigakonkwo over guys like Njoku or Noah Fant. Let me know if there's anybody else on the wire and go scoop those dudes or one of those guys if they're available. I'd rather play them over both Njoku and Noah Fant. I do not want to play those guys today. Yeah, I would not bench Brian Robinson for ETN. It's a tough matchup for Brian Robinson, but the Commanders have a pretty good run game, pretty good offense in general. He will get all the work. Austin Eckler out. ETN has been very pedestrian this year at best, and he's still splitting opportunities with Tank Bigsby. No, I would play Brian Robinson even in the bad matchup. At least he's at home. It's a home game for Washington, so that alleviates the concerns of the bad matchup a little bit. So, yeah, give me Brian Robinson. No one's available on the wire. Man. I guess you can risk it with Njoku because he's clearly the more talented player. I'm just going to go back to this real quick. If nobody is available, then I guess I would risk it with Njoku. but he's less than 100%, and DTR does not instill a ton of confidence. So you're playing with some risk and you're playing with some downside, but I mean, Noah Fant doesn't, is he inspires very little confidence, almost none. No, I would risk it with Njoku. I would risk it with Njoku. Let's see. Is this okay? I mean, okay. So this is just like your lineup. Allen, obvious. Henry locked. Great game yesterday. Irving over Walker and Robinson. That's okay. I'm fine with that. Chase and Smith and Jigba. Yep. Locks. Evans, lock. Yeah, it looks good. This. Bates. I would move off of Bates. Well, I guess with the kicker, with the wind died down in Chicago. It's now 10-mile-per-hour winds. It's not like 15-mile-per-hour winds like it was being forecasted yesterday. Okay, you're fine to keep in Bates. 10-mile-per-hour winds is, for me, a sizable difference than 15-mile-per-hour winds. That's when it starts to get like the swirl starts and it starts to get tricky as far as the kicking game goes. But 10-mile-per-hour winds in Chicago is not as big of a concern, so you can rock with Bates. That's fine. Yeah, this looks good. Best of luck. That looks like a team that's ready to advance to championship week. Let's see. Dwayne and Anthony, I see your questions. I promise I will get to them, but I just got a super from Tyler. Appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you for the support, not just today, but all season long. Reichard or Ryland at kicker. Ryland gets the Carolina Panthers at home. That's pretty damn enticing by itself. Reichard is on the road in Seattle where it is raining, and I believe it's raining steadily and heavily, but not a lot of wind to worry about. 5-mile-per-hour winds is nothing. That's a light breeze. The conditions obviously are better in the dome, in the desert, than they are in Seattle. Ryland had 15 points at home last week. He only had 3 points against Seattle, but that was that's a division game. Oh shoot. I apologize. The game is in Carolina. It's in Charlotte. Okay. Sorry. I thought that game was a home game for Arizona for some reason. It's a home game for Carolina. Is that a 1:00 East kickoff? It is. Okay. What's the weather in Charlotte right now? 37 degrees, 5-mile-per-hour winds. Very similar. So both guys are on the road. Ryland is just kicking against the Panthers. No really concerns. Reichard, slightly more competent opponent in Seattle, and it's raining there. That can make things slippery. That could make things, the wet football could make it a little difficult. I guess Ryland, Tyler. It's just he doesn't have to deal with rain. And the Carolina Panthers they're awful on defense. I mean, even Kyler can get them into scoring position more often than not, I would think, against a bad Panthers defense. I got to imagine. And I would bet if I had to pick, Minnesota-Seattle should be a decently competitive game. The Vikings are the better team, but Seattle's defending home turf. So honestly, that game could go either way. Arizona-Carolina. Arizona's not great, but they should probably beat the Carolina Panthers. If they have a lead, which I would assume they will, that means they'll be potentially the potential goes up for them to be tacking on points in the second half and on the road, they don't mind settling for field goals. Now, that same concept applies to Reichert, but slightly tougher matchup, slightly more competitive game, and we're dealing with rain. I will say Ryland. We're not dealing with any weather conditions other than it being a little chilly in Charlotte. Both solid options. Both should be fine. I will take Ryland against the Carolina Panthers. I will take Ryland against Carolina. Yep. Appreciate the super, Tyler. And I know you've sent a lot of them this year. I appreciate the support of the channel. Hopefully I've helped more than I've hurt. And best of luck today. Let me know if you need anything else. Okay. Henry, Kincaid, or Strange. I mean, it feels crazy to put this much faith in a guy who we've seen do well one time. But I think the answer is Strange. He should be a lock for 7 or 8 targets, minimum. And the Raiders are giving up a ridiculous amount of production to opposing tight ends. Like, the opportunity is huge, and the matchup is excellent. I think it's got to be Strange. Henry should be fine, especially with game script being in his favor against Buffalo. But that game has blowout potential. And if you don't put up the numbers before the blowout happens, the opportunities dwindle. Because then at that point, the teams are both just looking to get out of there as fast as they possibly can. So Henry feels a little bit more volatile. And Kincaid, I mean, has there been a tight end this year that's been more disappointing on the season than Dalton Kincaid? It hasn't materialized for him this year. He's too difficult to trust. I'll take Strange coming off a 12-target game and getting the Raiders. We're going Strange. Going Strange. Brenton Strange. Here we go. Calvin Ridley or Jalen McMillan in the flex. I mean, I like McMillan, and he has done a nice job over the past couple of weeks. I think it has to be Calvin Ridley, though. He is boom bust, but I think Mason Rudolph is a positive development for Ridley's opportunities. It's a good matchup. The Colts are a beatable matchup, and Mason Rudolph likes to throw the football to Calvin Ridley. I think we got to go Calvin Ridley. We got to go Ridley. Hope for the spike week. McMillan has been solid. He's a safe play, I guess, but I would probably just go Ridley. He is his team's wide receiver 1. Mason Rudolph likes throwing him the football, and it's a beatable matchup. I would go Ridley. Let's see. I got Tyler's question. Miller or Tracy? Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller. Again, I just have a feeling. I think he's going to have a nice day. I think he's going to put up a solid performance. As the dude in the Saints backfield, Kamara is not likely to play. Has he been ruled out yet? I don't think it matters. I think it's kind of already a foregone conclusion that Kamara is not going to play tomorrow night against the Packers. Oh yeah, he's been ruled out. That was official. That was official yesterday. He was ruled out. I'm telling you, man. Kendre Miller. I just have a feeling. I just have a feeling. No Alvin Kamara, no Taysom Hill. The receivers are all banged up or lost for the season. I think Kendre Miller is going to get 15 to 18 touches tomorrow, and I think he's going to have a nice floor day. Miller. Tracy is a little tougher to trust because he's been on the injury report, and he'll probably split work with Devin Singletary. I'll take Miller. Just checking to see if we have any more injury updates. Let's see. No. No new injury updates. Yeah. Yeah, give me Kendre Miller. Do you play Swift and Ford over JMO in the flex? You could, I guess you could play either one. If it's full PPR, I'd probably play Jamison Williams. If it's standard or half PPR, yeah, the problem with Ford, the matchup is so good. I just don't trust the Browns offense today with DTR. I don't trust the Browns offense. So I would play Swift. If this is what I play both of these guys over JMO, in full PPR, I'd probably play JMO over Ford. But if it's standard or half PPR scoring, I'll probably play both running backs. That's fine. Because at least he'll get all the work. Whatever work that is available in the Cleveland backfield will go to Jerome Ford. And Swift, yeah, I guess I like Swift a little bit more than I like JMO from a workload perspective. So from an opportunity perspective. Yeah, that's fine. I'll play both. I'll play both running backs over JMO in standard and half PPR. In full PPR, I may play JMO over Ford just because I trust the Lions offense more than I trust the Browns offense. But yeah, Swift over JMO is fine in all formats, and Ford is fine over JMO in standard and half PPR. I'm good with that. You're trying to get Smith and Jigba into your lineup. Let's see. I mean, you could possibly play him. You could just play him over Garrett Wilson. Because I don't want to take Achane out of my lineup, and I don't really want to take Bucky Irving out of my lineup either. If you want, and I think I would do this. I know it sounds crazy. I would probably sit Garrett Wilson for JSN. I wouldn't sit those running backs, but I would sit Garrett Wilson. Jackson Smith and Jigba is the wide receiver 7 on the season. And depending on your scoring or your format, he might be higher. Now, Wilson is a wide receiver 1 on the season as well, but JSN has been a little bit better. It's a shame that you can't play all of these dudes. But if you have to sit one of these 4 names, I would probably sit Wilson. Which feels and sounds crazy. But I'm with you. I want JSN in my lineup. He's been incredible this year. I want to play him. I would probably play him over Garrett Wilson, which sounds nuts. Sounds crazy. But JSN has been that dude this year. He has been that guy. AJ and Josh Jacobs. They have to be in. They have to be in your lineup. Yeah. I would sit Garrett Wilson for JSN. Yep. And you said it yourself. You're trying to get JSN into your lineup. That is your path. That is your path to do that. You sit Garrett Wilson. Which I know sounds crazy, but that's how you get him into your lineup. Best of luck. Hopefully it works out. Let's all get these dubs in advance to championship week. Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Kendra Miller, Tyron Tracy, Bucky Irving, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle. We're picking 3. Chase Brown is a slam dunk. I will say Bucky Irving is a slam dunk. Dowdle gets the Bucks. Walker gets the Vikings. Kendra Miller gets the Packers. Chase Brown and Bucky are slam dunks. I may go Dowdle after that, to be honest. I mean, the Cowboys have committed to him. He is their RB1. He's been a steady RB2 for fantasy with RB1 upside. Yeah. It's a shame that we can't get Kenneth Walker in there, but you have some really, really strong options at running back, so you can afford to kind of wait a week on Walker and see if you want to play him championship week. But Chase Brown is an automatic. Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Rico Dowdle. Those are the 3 that I'm going with of this group. Chase Brown's an automatic. I think Bucky's an automatic at this point. He looks amazing. And Rico Dowdle has been, I think, the RB like 14 or 15 over the past month. That's a strong RB2 with RB1 upside. Give me those 3 guys. Give me Chase Brown, give me Bucky Irving, give me Rico Dowdle. That's who I want. Derek is in lockstep. Yep. Brown, Bucky, Dowdle. Definitely. Need 2 out of 5. McLaurin is in. McLaurin is guaranteed one of them. I know it's a tough matchup, but he's the wide receiver 5 on the season. You're not sitting the wide receiver 5 in a bad matchup with your season on the line. You play Terry McLaurin, and it's standard. It's between Brees and Walker then. Brees has a slightly better matchup. Brees has the better matchup, working in a committee with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. Walker has a tougher matchup, but he is off the injury report. It's possible Charbonnet continues to mix in because he's been playing well. I mean, so here's where I'm at. McLaurin is automatic. For your second option, you have Brees in a committee in a great matchup. Walker in a committee in a tougher matchup. Ford will have the backfield probably to himself in a great matchup, but on a bad offense. I think my answer here is Brees. I think my answer is Brees for your second option. I will admit I do not have a ton of confidence in that pick. However, he is the most talented player of your options. Braylon Allen has been on the injury report this week, so it's possible he's limited even though he's active. And the matchup is incredible against the LA Rams. They are a run funnel. So you're kind of just hoping that Brees falls into the end zone. Yep, I would play McLaurin for sure, and I would probably lean Brees. If you're somebody who prefers a player who has a full workload, that's Jerome Ford. But I don't trust the Browns' offense. And Brees is the superior player, even if he is less than 100%. Braylon Allen was also on the injury report, so maybe Brees gets a few more looks. I will say Brees as your second option. Let's see. Pollard, Tracy, Spears, Taylor. Yeah, I guess Pollard. I mean, the matchup is good. I know he's less than 100%. He's been on the injury report, but he will play. I don't know that he'll get bell cow work, but he is the best option. Between Pollard and Spears. Tracy was also on the injury report. He may split work with Devin Singletary. Taylor is, I think, the odd man out here. It's just he's like his team's RB4. We're just at this point, at some point, like the luck is going to run out as far as like continuing to trot guys out there. Spears will be the backup in all likelihood today with Pollard active. Let's see if there's any last minute updates on that. As far as like Pollard's availability versus like what we can expect. No updates. Just that Pollard is active for week 16. I would play Pollard. It's hard to have confidence in him coming off the injury report. He didn't practice, I think, at all this week, but the fact that he's active is a good sign. I'll play Pollard. And just hope that he gets his typical allotment of opportunities. Yeah. Tracy, also banged up, could be the 1B behind Singletary. Spears will likely back up Pollard. Taylor, I'm just not, if I have a viable option at running back that I have seen do it before at a high level, I'm going to lean on that guy over a guy like Taylor. So, yeah, I would play Pollard. I will say, though, here, I would prefer to play Taylor to Debo. And that is more of a testament to how far Debo has fallen. Debo looks awful. He looks awful. He's not putting up the numbers. He's complaining about his usage. When he gets his opportunities, he's dropping the football. He's not ripping off big plays. And the 49ers offense in general is a shell of itself. At least Taylor, the Purdy just needs to turn around and hand him the football 15 times, and maybe he can get you 8 points. I just don't trust Debo. I have lost all faith in him. Debo is play at your own risk. If you think this is the week where Debo shakes off all the rust, then more power to you. I have no faith in Debo Samuel. None whatsoever. I would probably play Taylor. And I just saw an update that it looks like Zach Charbonnet may get the official start for the Seattle Seahawks. over Kenneth Walker. I'm just going back and looking at Walker questions. It looks like Zach Charbonnet may get the start today, the official start over Kenneth Walker. Did I miss this question? I might have missed this question. Apologies. JSN over Jawan Jennings and Bucky Irving is your running back here over Brian Robinson and over Kenneth Walker, especially now that we got the report that Walker may not even start this game. So proceed with caution with Kenneth Walker. Officially, it looks like Zach Charbonnet is going to get the start. What that means for their workload is to be determined. But we'll officially move forward with a lot of caution with Kenneth Walker. Maybe look to pivot off of him today if you don't need him. Pick 2 between Terry, CD, DJ Moore. Terry McLaurin is a slam dunk. I know it's a tough matchup, but he's the wide receiver 5 on the season. We simply can't sit him. And, I mean, I'll play CD. He's better. He's better than DJ Moore. And, he's still putting up decent numbers. He's at home. It's a good matchup against Tampa Bay's beatable secondary. CD should be fine today. I'll take Terry and I'll take CD. Yeah, give me Terry, give me CD. We are at the end of the chat again. One more time. This came from who came? Did Underdog send this? I'm trying to see where I saw this, but it looks like it sounds like it's possible that Kenneth Walker will not start today. It'll be Zach Charbonnet getting the start for the Seattle Seahawks. I do not know what that means for their usage and opportunity. However, if you are between some viable options and Walker is one of them, you may want to consider moving off of him with this new information that it looks like Charbonnet, not Walker, is going to start for Seattle. Walker will mix in. Walker will be involved, and it's possible he's still viable. But if he's not getting the start, then it's more of an uphill battle for him to come through for fantasy purposes. So tread lightly and cautiously with Kenneth Walker. If you have him and other viable options, I would probably look to pivot off of him. We are at the end of the chat. So I'll probably be shutting this down here in a couple more minutes. 100% play I would probably play Charbonnet over Patrick Taylor, knowing that he's going to get the start. Let me just double check this. Yeah, he is. If the trusty internet, which has never lied about anything ever, is any indication, Charbonnet will draw the start today. Now, the problem with starting, or the obviously there's a potential risk starting Charbonnet over Patrick Taylor because Taylor is like the last man standing for San Francisco, so he should get all the work, whereas Charbonnet will continue to cede work to Kenneth Walker. So we are still looking at a situation where they may only handle 10 to 12 touches each, and then that's potentially not viable for fantasy. And it's a tough matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. They have a good front seven. But it's a home game for Seattle. They're running the ball incredibly well. Zach Charbonnet has looked really good the past couple of weeks in Kenneth Walker's absence. So he is viable. He is the better player as well. I think it's fair to say he is the better player, pound for pound, one for one, straight up over Patrick Taylor. The question is, do you want to risk a guy in a committee, the more talented guy in a committee, over a dude who is just getting an opportunity out of necessity, but he will get all the work? And it's a good matchup for him as well. The Dolphins are a beatable matchup on the ground. The Vikings are a tougher matchup. Against the run. I think I slightly lean Charbonnet over Patrick Taylor. It is close. It is razor thin, but I'll take the talent over the opportunity in this particular instance. I'll take the talent over the opportunity for this. Either one is on the RB3 flex radar, if that helps. Taylor and Charbonnet are both on the RB3 radar. Charbonnet's ceiling is probably higher, but his floor is lower. And that's I guess where I'm at. But best of luck. Would I make any changes? Allen, of course not. Achan Gibbs, no. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Shakir. No, it's a damn good squad. Derek, you got a lot of really good options. No, I think this is good. I think you have it the way that you need to have it. Yeah, I would consider Kendre Miller over Shakir, but if it's full PPR, even if it's not, you have the Allen Shakir stack. I don't want to break that up. I want to keep that intact. So I think you're good, Derek. And you have high-end options. You have elite players across the board. You should be good. You should be fine today. You should be fine today. Yeah. Looks good. Looks good. Best of luck. Best of luck to everyone, of course, in your fantasy semifinals. Hopefully, we take this all the way to the championship next week. Again, one more time, this is my final stream of 2024. I will be traveling for the holidays. So I will not be live next week to conclude the fantasy season and championship week, but I will set up a community post on the channel where you can ask questions there, and I will get to them as soon as I am able to. You can also hit me in Discord for the last week of the season. Second link in the description of this stream and all the videos and streams on the channel. That is an evergreen invite. You can join at any time. I am also available there to answer questions. If, though, there is nothing else, again, I appreciate all of you. It has been a pleasure. It has been an honor this season. I hope I have steered you in the right direction more often than the wrong one. And obviously, I hope that as many folks that listen in and come hang out are in the championship game as possible next week. So best of luck with your matchups. Congrats on making it this far. It is an accomplishment to make it this far, win or lose. Not everybody is in these games every single year. So hats off to you guys for making these matchups and playing in them. Special shout out to the members that I saw today. All of my members, of course, but Crumply Heads, Derek, Iron. I think that was all that I saw from my members. Yeah, that was it, but that's okay. Appreciate you guys and all the support all season long. It means so much that, folks think enough to support this channel. Kevin and Tyler, thank you for the supers. Not just today, but all season long. And to everybody, all of everyone who tuned in, whether it was for 10 seconds or 10 hours. Thank you guys. Appreciate the support. I will be back in the new year, probably sometime in the spring. We'll start pumping out Dynasty content. If there's anybody who does not play Dynasty, but maybe you're interested in playing Dynasty, I am happy to talk to you about that. If you're interested in dipping your toes into that next level of degeneracy that we all love when the football season never ends. But regardless, there will be content that I will start pumping out leading up to the NFL draft. And of course, around to take your questions next week for any help that you may need for championship week. Best of luck today, everybody. Let's get these wins. Let's get to championship week. And thank you again for your time, your energy, your engagement all season long. It's been fun. Looking forward to seeing folks in championship week and looking forward to seeing you all in the new year. Have fun. Be safe. Enjoy whatever time you have, whatever is coming up this week, whether it's with family or friends or your whatever it is that you're doing. That as long as it's making you happy and you're enjoying yourself, that's all that matters. Enjoy the time and enjoy whatever time off you may have. Thanks, everybody. I will see you next year. Appreciate it.